Purdue did it again. Purdue did it again. Purdue did it again.
Trap game.
On today's Throwdown Thursday edition of the Odd Coaches Podcast, Dr. Adams and Coach Francis review Week 10 of the college football season, give their thoughts on dead money and secondary conference realignment, as well as providing predictions for Week 11. Welcome to today's show. Dr. Keith Adams is the president of the CKA Save Project, a nonprofit organization designed to assist student athletes and the people who work with them through educational and professional development. He is a career academic and athletic leader with close to 30 years of experience on the high school and college levels. He has won numerous championships and epitomizes professionalism. Coach Mike Franchise Francis is one of the most successful football and basketball coaches in the state of Maryland. He too is a career academic and athletic leader with close to 30 years of experience on the high school and college level and is self-admittedly a little rough around the edges. Both men have mentored countless student athletes, teachers, and coaches using their unique methods and approaches to leadership. Both men also share a unique and special friendship that was cultivated often through their unique perspective of life and leadership. Dr. Adams through his extensive educational background and Coach Francis through his life experiences. Can these two men share a podcast without driving each other crazy? Welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast.
Greetings and salutations and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today is my tag team partner, the Mike Rotundo as IRS, to my Ted DiBiase as the $1 Million Man in Money Inc., the icon, the showstopper, the main event, and the reason why we are here, Coach Mike Francis. And Coach, I did a Money Inc. reset. I hope you are well today, my friend.
I am well, sir. I'm well. Thank you. Thanks for having me back.
All right. This is our Throwdown Thursday edition where we will wrap up Week 10 of college football season and preview Week 11. And we've got a lot going on. So, Coach, I'm going to tag you in. Tell me what is on your plate right now.
Purdue did it again. Purdue did it again. Purdue did it again.
Trap game.
Purdue have come behind two teams who've won big games and just made them look bad, man. They threw for 536 yards, Coach.
Yeah, I didn't know Purdue was Dan Marino in the 80s.
Yes, sir. I'm also thinking about I want to see if Wake Forest took the defense with them this week because it doesn't seem like it. You score 55 points, you're supposed to win, Coach. You know how that is.
Okay, I'm gonna. No,
I'll
wait.
And I'm just going to drop one word to you and see your response as I jump out the way. Baylor.
All right. Yes, you have definitely caused pause, and I do recall a few text messages over the last couple of days. I'm not going to touch that Baylor thing yet, but my first thought is Project Cincinnati. I am now the official Project Cincinnati person. They have a legitimate path to get to the postseason clean. So I'm going to advise Cincinnati to keep grinding and shut up and allow all of this attrition to take place because I want Cincinnati in, which takes me to number 2. And I want you to make sure you've got your seatbelt on because I'm rethinking Oregon. I want the worst playoffs. I want no ratings. I don't want anybody to have any interest. That's how I want to book this. So I want Cincinnati in clean. And now I officially am flying the flag of the Pac-12 because if Cincinnati's 3 and Oregon's 4, the sounds you hear are clicking sounds of TVs turning off.
No rates.
And that's my goal now. I'm Project Cincinnati and I'm Project Oregon and I'm rooting for them for all the wrong reasons. I want no one interested. And that's how you make change, okay? By having an uninteresting product. That's called Raw, by the way, in wrestling.
Yes, sir.
Which takes me to my last item. I have to ask for the 437th time, Coach, why is the ACC so bad? Because you owe me another afternoon. I watched Wake Forest in North Carolina at a restaurant establishment where I was sampling some fine liquid nitrogen. And I'm watching the score go up and up and up. And they've got schools in the South, which are called speed states. They've got money. They got facilities. They got, why are they so bad? They should not be this bad. Please talk to me, Coach.
We talked about it before. They're learning. They're on a learning curve. They're in the middle of a learning curve now, to be honest with you. They're trying to, this isn't no more I formation, straight at you, single wing kind of football. They're spreading it out. And the fact that you said, there's speed states and all that, everybody's recruiting for a different type of football. So they're just transitioning. The ACC it's not that power football conference it was before, in my opinion, when the only team that actually spread it out a little bit used to be Florida State, if you recall. Florida State was one of the first to do it, and they had athletes. So now everybody has athletes. And I think the offenses are just, spreading it and throwing it around, and, one missed tackle and it's a touchdown, which leads to higher score. Yeah, it's more entertaining football, which people like. And there are some people I would definitely, some people who are not actually football fans, and this goes for staff, presidents, and deans of schools. They might not be football fans to the point they care about who wins. They just want to be entertained and enjoy themselves during the game. So if I lose 55-58, but we had some great plays, that brings an emotional tie in. And I bring in some fans that usually I don't get, which means what in the end?
Man, I thought it was a Wake Forest, North Carolina basketball game with that score. I thought I was watching basketball, and it's a 50-point game.
Applesauce.
It's not supposed to be 58-55 or whatever ridiculous score it was. I mean,
I'll take 58-55 now. We lost 70-0 on Friday. I'll take 55 in a loss.
Well, I'm going to say that's a good time to take a break. And fans will be right back after this short commercial.
Dr. Keith Adams, president of the CKA Save Project's book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success, is being released on November 15, 2021. The book serves as both a memoir of Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student-athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes numerous personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues, including former George Mason standout, Baller and Campbell. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast, Thursday Throwdown Edition. And in our second segment, we're going to talk about some second-tier stories from Coach Francis. And I have a rant that I've already released to Coach Francis, so he'll be ready for that. I didn't want to set him up that bad. But, Coach, what are your second-tier thoughts going on?
SMU loss, Kentucky's loss. And we talked about that Boise State that's a rivalry game, even though neither one of them ranked, and Boise pulled it off. Those are three things I looked at. And I'll get back. I got one, and we'll talk about later that, I want to make sure I bring up to you. But that's
that SMU loss is going to hurt my Project Cincinnati. So I was a little bit upset with that. And the funny thing, as we talk about Project Cincinnati, is they were up, and then they almost went to overtime.
Yeah, right?
And I'm like, oh, my goodness, man. I'm trying to invest in you. But I digress. Coach, earlier this week, ESPN did an article, on dead money in college sports, something that I have written extensively about and have researched. And when I talk about dead money, I mean paying people who are no longer working for the university. And we talked in our preview episode for college football this year about how much money people are making in 37 different states. The highest paid state employee was either the university football or basketball coach. But I want to throw out some of this data to you and then get your response. And that's why I sent it to you early. When we talk about FBS, we're talking about the Football Bowl subdivision. And from January 1st, 2010, to January 31st, 2021, public universities in FBCS conferences paid out more than $533 million in dead money to head coaches and assistant coaches in football and men's and women's basketball. The total does not even include tens of millions of dollars in severance packages to coaches who were either fired or resigned. It also doesn't include payments that were made to coaches who had previously been fired beyond January 31st. And here are two of the schools that I'm like, come on, man, you can't do this. Auburn is paying out $31 million of dead money, and Nebraska's paying away $25 million in dead money, followed by Texas. And I'm glad they're 4-4 or whatever they did, $21 million in dead money. Ole Miss, $20 million in dead money. And then what is Kansas doing, paying $20 million to past football coaches when they're awful? Okay. So, Coach, can you share your thoughts on this? I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's a Power Five or a Group of Five. Power Five, this is crazy. Coach, tell me what you're thinking about this, because when I read that article, I lost my mind.
I can't get over this Kansas, man. Like, what are they paying for? If they had a quality coach, they get a lot of name coaches. They get guys on the way down or guys after they got fired at, an SEC school or something like that, and come in as a lot. Like Charlie Weiss was there once at one point, correct? Like, yeah. I remember him from Notre Dame or something going over there. It's ridiculous. I don't get it. But I go back to this. All right, we can do this, but we can't play athletes.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That $33 million would have paid every athlete handsomely over that course of time, in my opinion. Auburn 31.2. Nebraska. Who is Nebraska paying? You talk about
Pelini.
I mean, come on, man. Why? I mean, but you don't have money for the kids, or you fought to not have money for the kids.
Exactly.
That's not good, man. Even a Group of Five, $62.8 million in dead money. UConn.
Which takes us to my second story that I wanted to talk about. Conference USA is expanding. So, and that's why I sent you some notes in advance. A lot of times fans, we just try to catch each other off guard and get our thoughts. But this one, I'm like, Coach, I need you to look at this with me. So Conference USA, they're going to add, check out these powerhouses, Liberty, Jacksonville State, New Mexico State, and Sam Houston State beginning in 2023. The Conference USA overhaul might not be done. Mid-American Conference presidents have talked about possible expansion, and Conference USA members, Western Kentucky and Middle Tennessee State, are potential options, so they may lose more people. Including Western Kentucky and Middle Tennessee State, Conference USA only has 5 members that have not announced plans to leave over the next few years. As I talked about, when the Big 12 and the SEC and all of that took place, there was going to be a trickle-down effect. So all of these conference realignment moves are trickled down from what happened when the SEC invited Texas and Oklahoma. So now the Big 12 as you know, added 3 from the American Athletic Conference, which led the American to poach 6 schools from Conference USA. Conference USA has also lost 3 members to the Sun Belt. So the Sun Belt's going to have 14 football members, and James Madison, one of the best FCS schools, is going to go there. But hey, the CAA is jerking James Madison around. James Madison did business the right way, announced their plans to leave, and now, according to a CAA rule, they can't participate in the postseason in all of their sports. Man, this is crazy.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the second-tier schools going crazy with expansion and poaching? Whoa, what's going on, man?
I mean, out of the whole group, like New Mexico State might be the only team with a winning record. Liberty won last year, but I'm trying to figure it out. Like Jacksonville State's 1-8 currently. Sam Houston is 4-5, excuse me. But I think, as we said before, the trickle down, once you start moving, it's going to open up spots, and it still comes back to the money. It's nothing that you can't possibly say it's about anything else other than money. You cannot, with a straight face, hand on the Bible, testify this has anything to do with anything else but money. And I will guarantee you 4 or 5 years from now, we'll look back, hopefully when we're nationally syndicated, and you will see that there has been, I'd like to get the Google Earth pictures of all these universities right now. And then within 5 years, how many of them will have new dorms, new buildings, new classrooms, all right, and not say it's because of joining this conference. They'll say they had something else, but they don't talk about how the athletics builds and funds these universities more than anything. The athletic department does. And it's an issue that has been going on, and the NIL, NIL name, image, and likeness is just part of what's going on. That's just a piece of here. Take that, but they're always going to be on the upside when it comes to the financials and things like that. When it comes to universities, because if you can pay dead money at that clip, then you got money. If you can pay somebody $533 million to go away. Come on, man. Auburn 31.2. Yeah, you got the money.
Which is a great way to close this segment. We started talking about dead money, and now we're talking about second and third tier conferences moving and maneuvering. It's kind of crazy, but that's why we keep preaching about finding a balance. Book coming out. So
yes,
we'll be right back after this brief break.
The vision of the CKA SAVE project is to use the combination of academics and athletics as a catalyst to lifelong success. Thus, the CKA SAVE project works to improve student-athlete academic and athletic performance by assisting student-athletes with transitional and transferable skills such as time management and organizational skills, along with the ability to self-advocate to help improve performance. However, we cannot do our work without the help of supporters like you. Consider donating to the CKA SAVE project. We accept tax-deductible contributions in a number of ways, including Venmo and Cash App at CKA SAVE project, or directly at the main page of our website, www.ckasaveproject.org. Simply click the donate button. We thank you in advance for your continued support.
Welcome back to the Coaches Podcast. And for segment 3, we will do predictions for week 11, as well as talk about things that are strictly for entertainment purposes only. So the college football playoff system has now started on Tuesdays to introduce the top teams for the college football playoffs, and I try my best to be as objective as possible, and I know I'm going to be off, especially after looking at that first round of releases. So here is the OCP top 5. Let's see how I do when this comes out. I got Georgia's 1 because they should be, and I had a chance to watch Georgia play, and I recall texting you and calling you saying their backups are hitting very hard. So, yeah, Georgia is good. So for number 2, I actually have Oklahoma as number 2. And the reason why I have Oklahoma as number 2 is because Oklahoma didn't play and they didn't break nothing. Okay, so let's have them as number 2 because I think they're going to lose in Bedlam. I think somebody's going to beat them so they can naturally leave and I don't have to worry about them. So sure, you can be number 2 right now, knowing you're not going to be there. I've got Alabama as number 3. Yeah, Alabama should be in there, but man, they should not have been 2. Okay, but by natural attrition, they're naturally going to get there and they're going to be 2 at the end, but you can't make them 2 right now. You got to let that stuff happen. But again, I digress. I got Oregon as number 4. Why? Okay, according to the data, Oregon should be 4 because they've got the best win right now, beating Ohio State at Ohio State. So, okay, if you're going to use that logic, don't start with me about my time. They beat them. I don't care. Oregon's 4. I'm happy with Oregon being 4. And eventually, Oregon's going to be 3 because nobody's going to beat them, which means on the outside, in 5 is Cincinnati. Cincinnati should be slotted as 5, and I don't care if they're winning ugly. They're going to be undefeated. So if Cincinnati is 13-0 and beat everybody, including Notre Dame at Notre Dame, because Notre Dame is a part of Operation Project Cincinnati, they've got to keep winning, then you can't keep them out. And on the outside looking in, I have Ohio State. They're going to get another loss, so then I won't have to worry about them. I don't know who's going to beat them, but somebody else is going to beat them. And quite frankly, I hope it's Michigan, just because he needs to win, okay? And that will keep him around for another year and continue to give us content. Michigan State is on the outside looking in, and I'm telling you, Notre Dame is on the outside looking in because if they are a one-loss team and they get to be 7 or 8, they like Notre Dame. So that's going to help Cincinnati with Project Cincinnati because Project Oregon is just keep beating these bums and you're going to be in, okay? So with merchandise coming soon, and we actually have to find somebody because I like an OCP t-shirt myself.
Me too.
Coach, who's on the franchise 5, sir?
Franchise 5, we're going with Georgia number 1, Alabama number 2, Oklahoma 3, Cincy 4, Notre Dame 5. And I'll tell you why I moved Ohio State. Ohio State struggled this week. Like I told you about that before with when Penn State lost their quarterback and on the road and they couldn't get closed out. So, when you struggle, you show a little weakness. That means somebody found it. And you always say the same thing. We know the smartest people doing these are these defensive coordinators and people who can slow you down. So on the outside looking in, I have Oregon, and then I have the rest of the Big Ten with Ohio State and Michigan State.
It's like 3 teams. Penn State's going to get a win. They're gonna beat somebody.
You think?
We'll see what happens. Man, hey, they're due, man. They're due because they blew their season. James, I'm probably going to leave somewhere. So we'll see what happens with that. Now, strictly for entertainment purposes only, I have 4 games of the week, and because of when we tape, we do the money line. So LSU, Alabama, although it was a little closer than the score indicated, Alabama got the win. I did have them. I have Michigan State versus Purdue. I did pick Michigan State, but we both said smells like a trap game, so it wouldn't shock either one of us if they won or they lost. Purdue handled their business like comfortably too. It was like, oh, okay. I've been waiting a long time to say this, but my long national nightmare is over. North Carolina beat Wake Forest, and they put them out. They're over. I don't have to talk about Wake Forest anymore. North Carolina took care of them. 1, 2, 3. I don't care if they held the Titans. They got the win, and now I hope the committee pushes Wake Forest down to like 15 or 16. And then UTSA, University of Texas to San Antonio, got to tell you, got the win over UTEP, University of Texas at El Paso. So UTSA is still undefeated, and I hope they make the top 15 just because they're terrible and they're undefeated. And I hope the committee says, here's a bone. I don't even know what conference they play in. I can't lie to you.
Man, they'll lose by 100 to any of them top 5 teams we talking about.
They would lose so bad. So I was 3-1. My season record is 25-15, which is 62%, well above my goal of 53%.
Mm-hmm.
And games of the week for week 11. Again, Purdue versus Ohio State, and historically, Purdue, after a big win,
they lose.
Does not beat out of them.
Yes.
So I am picking Ohio State to win that one. We've got Michigan versus Penn State. Now, Michigan has to win that one. So that means I'm going to pick Michigan, but boy, oh boy, don't let Penn State win.
Come on, Franklin.
That's going to mess up Operation Project Cincinnati. We've got Oklahoma and Baylor, and let's just say I'm going to call the Baylor Bears for an upset so we can get Oklahoma out of there, Project Cincinnati. And then my fun game based on my partner, Texas A&M versus Ole Miss. That's going to be a good one. That is going to be a good one. And I don't like Jimbo, so I'm going to pick Ole Miss just because I don't like Jimbo. Nothing more, nothing less. All right, so we got Ohio State over Purdue, Michigan over Penn State, Baylor over Oklahoma, and Ole Miss over Texas A&M because I've got a cushion. And all of this is done, fans, strictly for entertainment purposes only, which takes us to the OCP Heisman Watch. And can you officially stop talking about Bo Nix before we start? Because that loss was bad.
Okay.
Can we get that bum out of the conversation?
Okay. All right.
I'm knocking off a lot of stuff this week. Wake Forest, Bo Nix, we can get them out of the way. Now, according to the Caesar Sportsbook, these players are the top 5 candidates. Bryce Young at Alabama, quarterback. Matt Corral, Ole Miss, quarterback C.J. Stroud from Ohio State, quarterback Caleb Williams from Oklahoma, and running back Kenneth Walker. Now, again, my front runner is Kenneth Walker because that boy is bad. And he keeps killing people, win, lose, or draw. But, Coach, what are you thinking about in terms of your favorite right now for the Heisman?
Matt Corral, Ole Miss. I like him. Caleb, I don't know about, but I would between Matt Corral and Kenneth Walker are my 2 right now, my top 2.
Well, I'm hoping a running back wins. That's what I'm hoping for. So I know he's the only one.
Yeah, exactly.
So with that said, any final thoughts before we wrap up, sir?
Can't wait to send my tweet to James Franklin. I need him this week.
All right. So on behalf of my tag team partner, Coach Mike Francis, I am Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching, because Mike did post the Odd Coaches podcast, and we will see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Spotify, Podbean, and YouTube so you don't miss an episode. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Coaches Odd. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.